So here's a list. Some of these you may have questions about, but objective terms are listed here on the left, subjective terms on the right, right? An objective term would be to demonstrate or to show, right? Subjective terms that I hear used often are words like prefers and dislikes. So like the child will perform a preferred activity, right? Well, really, how do you know that it's a preferred activity? Maybe it's just the activity the child knows how to do. And if it was something else, they'd actually prefer it more, but they haven't experienced it yet. That's really subjective. What you can observe and you can objectively measure is whether or not they select or they choose. You can have teacher selected, you can have child selected. So in the same context where you might write, the child will demonstrate a preferred activity, you might say the child will demonstrate a student-selected activity, right? Prefers and dislikes are really subjective words. Refuses and avoids. Again, those are kind of harsh words that tend to bring up additional conceptions about the reason behind why the child is not performing a specific task, right? They're avoiding it. And when we hear the word avoid, we assume that means it's because they don't like it. But we don't know whether they like it or not. We know that they just are not actively engaging in that in this context, right? So again, using words like selects or does not select, and terms like refuses and avoids would most likely be included in a goal that was written about what you want the child not to do anyway. So we're not going to be teaching them to refuse or avoid for the most part. We're going to be teaching them what things to do and select and choose instead. Next, strengths and areas of concern, and this really goes back more to your present level information in your IEP. We tend to use these terms, strengths and areas of concern. I would advocate that you shift that subjective term to something more like skills present and skills missing. You can identify the skills that they have, and you can identify the skills that they don't have, and let's not necessarily surmise that those skills they have are strengths or skills they don't have are areas of concern. We're going to talk further in a subsequent day of training about something called central coherence. And while many think that a weakness in central coherence might be an area of concern, I will be giving an argument for why that's actually could be considered an area of strength. So again, if we just stick with this idea of central coherence as a skill they have or they don't have, then we're not superimposing these subjective thoughts about that skill. Angrily, aggressive, right? Even quickly. I can't define how long quickly is, so that's a subjective term. But you can define within an allotted time if you're specific about that allotted period of time. And the last two on your subjective list, be able to and will learn. The student will be able to demonstrate. You know what? The be able to just isn't even necessary. The student will demonstrate. We don't even need those words in there. Promise you, our goals are going to be wordy enough when we include all of those components of a SMART goal in that. So we don't need to be adding extra words. And finally, we'll learn. Again, let's be more objective. We'll show, we'll demonstrate, we'll complete, right? We'll learn. That's really kind of subjective. Maybe on one day they've got it, maybe another day they don't. We'll perform would be a more objective term there.